Yes, my Between the Liners, welcome back to the show. There's a big derby this weekend, and I'm not talking about that rubbish down over in North London. I'm talking about the Manchester derby, 2 p.m. Sunday at the Etihad, Manchester City v Manchester United. This is my match preview. I wanted to get my thoughts out on the game, so let's get into it straight away. We'll talk about the press conference first. I've just listened to it, watched the press conference with Ten Hag. Everyone had doubts this week whether Rashford and Martial were even going to play. Ten Hag's confirmed that they've both been training all week and that they should be involved in the game at least. Intrigued to see that neither of them were in the training picks all week, and Ten Hag or someone at United has left us guessing and left City guessing at least. So I like the gamesmanship start to it already. If Martial is finally back fit, I'm going to assume that he's probably not match fit right now, so I assume he's going to get a place on the bench. We'll get to the predicted lineups after. Carrying on with the press conference, I like the way that, look, obviously Maguire gets a lot of criticism and fairly, it's been well deserved, yeah. But it's got to come to a point where we probably have to stop criticising him, because eventually he will get back into the team. One, because he's captain, and two, how much can we rely on Raphael Varane to not be injured throughout the whole season? So the more we get onto Harry Maguire's back, and obviously I'm a part of that as well. I've been getting onto him a lot as well, but I'm going to try to stay off his back for a while. We need him to regain his confidence a little, because he will get back into the team at one point or another, whether it's a Martinez suspension or a Varane injury or cup games. We're going to need him, and Harry Maguire on low confidence is just bad news for all of us. So I like the way that Ten Hag backed him. He said that he still believes in him, and he's convinced that Harry Maguire will reach his top level at one point again. He said that Maguire's nearly on 50 caps, played well for United and Leicester, and a lot of that is true. So fair play to Ten Hag. He's obviously not going to come out and say negatives about Maguire. So yeah, fair enough. And I think it was I don't know about everyone else, if anyone else has seen the press conference, but was it only 8 minutes long? I thought these press conferences were going to be like half an hour or something. But yeah, it was pretty short, 8 minutes long. The Martial and Rashford news was probably the most important takeaway we could get from the interview. And a lot of people were questioning whether Ronaldo should start because they thought Rashford and Martial weren't going to play. To be honest, I think a lot of us were a bit worried with that, because obviously the pressing game, how much can he do? He's 37 years old, especially if we're not dominating with the ball. There's probably not a lot Ronaldo can do in this type of game, especially from the start. I like the way that Ten Hag is just really straight cut, doesn't really play no games, really firm in his press conferences. He's serious, and it's time that we got serious. Ollie was a bit of a joke, man, had a bit of banter with the press. Mourinho, Van Gaal had a bit of banter. Ten Hag doesn't really have the greatest charisma, I would say. And I like that. I like him for that. We need something serious. It's time to get serious at United. We need to take the club back to the top. Thank you, Ten Hag. Just some little kind of thoughts before the game. And I think obviously everyone's thinking that Haaland is the main talking point, and I understand why. He scored 14 goals in 9 games or something crazy like that in the beginning of his City career so far. But I've heard this before as well. A lot of people have mentioned it before. Apparently Martinez and Ajax played them last season, and Martinez kept a clean sheet. Ajax won the game 4-0. He had 4 blocks, 4 tackles, 4 interceptions. Got man of the match when they won 4-0 apparently. And apparently handled Haaland fine. In my opinion, I'm not worried. Obviously I'm worried about Haaland. I'm not too worried about Haaland in this game, because yes, City will dominate, but we have an issue with giving the opposition players too much time in the midfield at least, or creative players too much time. So Haaland in the box and in and around the box, I'm convinced that Martinez is going to stick to him like glue. And if anything, Haaland should probably be targeting Varane rather than Martinez, because Martinez is the type of guy that is going to be up for this challenge, is going to stay with Haaland every second of the game. And I'm confident that Martinez will handle Haaland. The only thing is you switch off for a split second and the ball's gone in the air or something, or falling to Haaland's feet in the box. It's more likely than not he's probably going to put it away. But I'm confident in Varane and Martinez and the way they've been playing. to stick with Haaland and deal with Haaland. Like I said, our main problem is outside the box. I'm worried that Cancelo and De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and maybe Foden, they're going to get too much time on the ball, because even in the Liverpool game and Arsenal game, we allowed them to play in front of our box quite a lot, like more than I'd like. And that's why like McTominay or Casemiro or Bruno or Eriksen, whoever he plays in midfield, they need to be onto them quicker. And that includes Malacia and Dalot. And fair play to Dalot. Dalot's been doing that a lot. I think he's been really aggressive. One more concern with Martinez is that we have to worry about, is he going to be too up for the game? We don't want him to be too rash, start exposing himself too much. As long as he can control his aggression, in the same way with Malacia as well. Sometimes he get a bit too aggressive. I want him to control it. We don't want any sending offs, any early yellows. We need 11 man on this pitch, and we need sensible aggression rather than just constant aggression. And hopefully Martinez has that in check. Let's take it on to our starting lineup and what I think it will be. Not what I want it to be, but what I think it will be. Obviously, Dave goes and goal, standard. The back four, I think, picks itself at the moment. Maguire's actually injured for this game. Thank God. I just said I wasn't going to take the piss out of him. I had to get one more little one out there. Anyway, Dalot, obviously, Varane, Martinez, Malacia. I'm comfortable with that back four, and obviously that's the back four that's been keeping clean sheets, defending well, got us on this winning streak, 4-game winning streak in the Prem. So I'm very confident in that back four, and it's the best back four we obviously have right now. Maybe Shaw has a claim to try and get in the team. I heard he had a good England performance. Not that I watch England friendlies or Nation League or whatever it is. Midfield is the big question mark, I think. Especially with Rashford and Martial back training. I think midfield is probably the biggest question mark we have. And the question obviously is, do we finally bring Casemiro into the starting lineup, or do we stick with Scott McTominay after the performances he's been having? I heard that Casemiro had a very good performance for Brazil, defended well. I think he kept a clean sheet and he got an assist as well for Rafinha. It's a tough one, but... And obviously, Casemiro's possibly the best CDM in the world right now, yeah, based on his form at Madrid last year. Obviously his form at United hasn't been too great, hasn't really had match fitness yet, didn't have a pre-season. In the biggest game possible, you probably want your best players in there, yeah. So that's why it's tough. But I think, and Scott's had good performances in these derby games, especially against Liverpool, the likes of Liverpool, City and Leeds. He turns up, you know. He puts in a big shift. He scored a goal against City, didn't he, recently? Is that in the last game, the one before? Scored from outside the box against Edison. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to say pick Scott McTominay over Casemiro. Leave Casemiro on the bench for now. Scott deserves his place in the team, which I'm shocked to say. So I reckon give it Scott McTominay, Eriksen, Bruno midfield. Eriksen, his class is undeniable, has to start in basically every big game we play in now because of the way he controls the ball, the way he controls possession, the way he finds our players, the way he moves the ball quick. And Bruno slowly getting into his best form, being a bit more mature this season. Just need a bit more goals and assists from Bruno because that's what we've come to know him for. So if he could add that to his game in his new kind of deep or 8 role, then that would be greatly appreciated, and what a way to turn up than against City. So I think Scott, Bruno, Eriksen. On the wings, I think Anthony on the right, big money signing, still trying to find his feet at United. And also, because Cancelo is probably one of City's main threats along with De Bruyne in terms of creativity and finding that killer pass, Anthony seems like the type of person, or from what we've seen at least, he works very hard, is aggressive in his defending, tracks back a lot. I don't see Sancho or Rashford doing that on the right-hand side and keeping up with Cancelo. But I think Anthony will be up for the battle. I think he'll do his job at least. Might not have the best game creatively. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I think he'll be a very solid shift from Anthony this game. Alanga is probably the other option and probably works a bit hard on the wings in Rashford or Sancho in terms of tracking back, but I think it's got to be Anthony. On the left has to be Sancho. Scored against City in our last game via them, I think. It was a good finish as well, great finish actually. Was quite surprised how he took it. And I think it's got to be Rashford up front because he is back training. He's been training all week. Had a good start to the season so far, which brings me on actually. he got player of the month and Ten Hag got manager of the month. I'm not too gassed about that, to be honest, because it's only been 2 games in September. We only played 2 games. For them to win that award, it feels a bit baseless. And look, I can't criticise him for it. I have to praise him for it, but I'm not overly concerned or overly gassed about them winning manager of the month and player of the month. Doesn't mean a lot to me, to be honest. But Rashford got to be up top. If the only way we're going to create or beat this City team is by getting in behind Cancelo and Walker. Once their fullbacks push up, it's the only way we're going to counter-attack against them and try to win the game. We've got to get in behind them. The way Rashford's been playing, and he's done it against City before in the past as well, counter-attack, get in behind them, run on from the last man, finish it in, take one touch, finish it off. That's our best hope to win this game, to be honest. We can't be deluded about it. City are going to have like 80, 70% of the ball. The only way we can win this game is by counter-attacking, and our hopes are relying heavily on Rashford. So I hope he has a big game. I hope he holds it up as best as he can. I hope he has his finishing boots on and some kind of maturity about his play. He's slowly getting a bit better up front, I feel like, and we're relying on him heavily in this game. Especially if we get 1 chance, he has to take it. 2 chances, has to take it. We can't afford to be missing any chance against City, especially if we want to get a point or a win. Obviously, I'm going for a win, so I hope all the United players are too. I think that if Martial had a good run of games, that he would have been in with a shout to start this game, which is mad because I'm not even mentioning Ronaldo. But I think Martial, if he can come on like he did in the Liverpool game, and he played pretty well holding it up, finding Sancho and Rashford in behind, because he's become a bit like a false 9, Martial, rather than just a number 9. I don't think he has like the mobility for playing just number 9. He's kind of become like a hold-up kind of striker now. So I think that Martial coming off the bench, especially if we can hold off for a 1-1 or a 0-0 until like the 60th minute, bringing on Martial should have good impact on the team and create more chances, more opportunities for Rashford and Sancho in behind, I'd like to think, or even Anthony. So we'll bring it on to the score prediction, and obviously, you know me, I can get gassed with United very easily. Bit of realism is no manager post-Fergie has won their first league game against City. Fergie was the last one to do it in 1986. So obviously Mourinho, Van Gaal, Oli, Ragnick, etc., all lost their first game to City in the league. But some optimism, in our last 7 games at the Etihad, we've actually won 4 of those. Oli, I think, won 3 of those, which was remarkable. So that's why, going along the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tactics, Eric Ten Hag tactics, let's go for the counter-attacking play. My score prediction for the game. Look, it's very, very rare where I say that United are going to lose a game. And I'm not going to start today either. I think United to win this game 2-1. I can see Bruno scoring, kind of like solidifying his place as the leader in this team. And to be honest, I can see Rashford scoring. I'm not sure about Rashford's record against the top 6 teams, but he tends to score in quite a few of them from what I remember. So I think it will be Rashford. I think it will be Bruno. Everyone's worried about Haaland. To be honest, I'm not really that worried about Haaland. I'm more worried about De Bruyne and Cancelo and Bernardo Silva and Foden behind. Yeah, they're probably going to be trying to set up Haaland, but I think they're our main worries at the moment because we concede too much space and time to too many of our opposition team's players. So in terms of goals, if Haaland gets 1 chance, obviously he's probably going to take it. That's why I'm going for 2-1. I'm hoping Martinez and Varane keep out Haaland at the back. So yeah, that's my prediction. 2-1 United. Maybe I'm deluded. Maybe I'm optimistic. Maybe I'm realistic. Maybe I'm going to get it right. I got the Arsenal game right. I said we was going to win that 3-1. I'm hoping I'm going to be right again. I'm going to have a match reaction video out on Sunday after the game. Hopefully it's full of confidence, full of joy, because we've just smashed up City like 5-0. I would happily take a wrong score prediction if it's 5-0 United. We deserve a big win against City. We've due one. Pep Guardiola and City haven't been the greatest this season. They drew against Newcastle because conceded 3. They drew against Steven Gerrard's Villa, who aren't the greatest. I'm confident of a 2-1 United win. If not 2-1, I think it will be minimum of 2-2 anyway at least. Watch out for the match reaction on Sunday. This has been my match preview for the game. Get in the comments and let me know what you think it's going to be. What squad do you think it's going to be? Who do you think is going to be playing midfield? Is it going to be Scott McTominay? Is it going to be Casemiro? I can't believe I'm saying that again. No Harry Maguire in the team this week, not even coming off from the bench. Some good news. I know I said I wasn't going to pick on Harry Maguire. I'm so sorry. That was the last one. Anyway, this is the Between Lines podcast. Thanks for watching. I'm Adnan. I'm your host. Check out the TikTok, check out the Instas. It's all blowing up on TikTok especially. Got 100,000 plus views, got 15,000 plus likes, got 50,000 plus views on Insta. The Insta is here, you're going to see it, or here, at BTO Pods. Adnan, I'm your host. Watch out for the game. 2 big derbies this week. Forget the North London derby, big Manchester derby this Sunday at the Etihad. Manchester United are going to beat Manchester City 2-1. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one. This is Between Lines podcast. Peace out. Between the lines.